Hello, I'm back again. Tuesday, the 1st of November. Cheers. hmm Well, made it through another Halloween. And, you know, my perception is pretty on point. And I'm not saying I'm right, I'm just saying my observations are based on not what I'm thinking, but what I'm observing in the world. Now, I live on a block with mm, about half the families on this block have children, little kids. This year there were no trick-or-treaters at all on my block. I happened to see on social media where a lot of people were posting where the numbers for trick-or-treating was way down. And then the other comment that I saw several people say in so many words is like, adults have hijacked, one of the last holidays for kids, which I would tend to agree with. It's like we don't know how to be adults, and then all the bad news that you hear on Halloween, and then the guy from Migos getting killed over dice. I don't even care about Migos, but I knew about him, and it's like, that's just sad. That's ridiculous. At 28 to get murdered over a dice game. And let me just finish. To have that kind of position, where you have a career, you're making money, but you're out playing dice in a bowling alley at 2 in the morning? What? That's just me. Really sorry to hear that. So, I enjoyed the comments. I have another pile of singles. I could do this. Like I told you, I've got a lot of records. But that was fun. It is like going down memory lane, isn't it? In good ways and sometimes bad. Yes, Stephanie. Good morning. Yes, those records bring back many memories. Some of them tough. We're stronger as a result of what we've been through, aren't we? Though we survived it. So, before I show some singles, I did play a couple of albums, and this one I played all the way through. Interlife by Paul Brett, guitarist. British guitarist? Correct? You British folks will let me know. I remember when this came out, there was a bit of a buzz about it, comparing it a bit somewhat to Mike Oldfield. I see that, and at the same time, it's not at all like Mike Oldfield. When I got to thinking about this, though, I thought to myself, is there any video representation of this online? So I looked it up, and sure enough, in 2010, this was remastered or something, and then a video was put together for it, animated, and I watched that. I really enjoyed it. Good album, instrumental, the kind of thing I like. Also, as a result of something I watched yesterday, I have collections of video. And I was watching some Bowie yesterday. Prince and Bowie, they're like tandem to me. They're nothing alike, and yet they're like two of the greatest pop artists in my mind of recent times. And so I was watching some Bowie, and I chanced upon this live performance of him doing Scary Monsters, and I forgot how much of a rocking song that is. So I pulled this album, and this is one of the, I love this album. I think I can't say a favorite Bowie album but this is strong. And Scary Monsters on here, including Ashes to Ashes. I liked that song. I loved it when I would be on the radio. And the ending of it with the synthesizers and the descending pattern, beautiful. This whole album, though, is really, really, really good. So that's some music that got played. Oh, couple more. Red Lorry, Yellow Lorry. I saw where Brett Helm was showing some online, and these guys always sound good to me. Other thing I listened to for a little bit, didn't get all the way through the side, was Embryo with the No Neck Blues Band. Did I got that right? No Neck blues band with Embryo. This is a big improvisation. You can hear that, where it's just cruising along nicely. So I hope you guys are all doing, folks. When I say guys, I mean people, okay? So, what did I pull to show singles-wise? Well, here's a really good one. Jimmy Smith, The Sermon, backed with Walk on the Wild Side Part 2. Again, this is pure blues, but Jimmy Smith had such a way with the organ, and he could just attack it and pull things out of it emotionally that is like extraordinary. Wish I still had it. You know, I was talking yesterday about all those records that we kids got from Coil, and one of the singles that we got was a promo of Break On Through by The Doors. They weren't even, Light My Fire wasn't out yet when I got this. I wish I still had it. But I remember that, you know, because it stood out. Break On Through. It was, wish I still had it, but I have some Doors singles. Here's one, Touch Me, back with Wild Child. Someone asked me about Wichita Lineman. Oh, it's a great song. Jimmy Webb was a wonderful songwriter. I do have Glenn Campbell's version. I love it. I love it. In the year 2525, Zager and Evans, they were from Lincoln, Nebraska, just down the road from Omaha here. This is an original before they got picked up by a major label. And as old as this song is, the things they were saying in this are right on point, unfortunately. You know, it's a doomsday song. And we're just, as a collective, we're just making sure that it comes true. Right now, so much of what's happening on this planet just doesn't make any sense. Why I think they're so negative and why people are so blind to this division that's just causing so much madness and violence. It don't make no sense at all. It really doesn't. And this is not the working of mature, objective adults. It's like we've lost our minds collectively. Lonnie Liston Smith, Journey into Love. We lost him not that long ago. Great player. Here's another promo. Got a bunch of these. Whenever I can, over the years, I've been collecting a long time, when I would have a chance to come across promos for free, I'd grab them, or cheap. Billy Cobham, Bolinas. Very cool to see that Billy is out on tour right now. Just a great drummer. So this I have two copies of that are beat. One of them is my dad's copy, and one is one that I just found and just kept. But this is probably my dad's copy. Chuck Berry, School Days, backed with Deep Feeling. Now this is the copy, or the other one I have. This is probably it. As you see, it's played white. My parents both told me that when I was just a baby in the crib, if they played Chuck Berry, this record, or Everly Brothers, Wake Up Little Susie, I would go nuts. And I would rock in time and big smiles and stuff. So I was smitten with music from the word go. I have some of his bigger hits, but I pulled this one to show. Guitar legend, for those who know about guitar, Duane Eddy. Rabble Rouser was a big hit for him, but this was pretty good too. Peter Gunn, Duane Eddy. Summer Samba. This was a really neat song. Written by Marcos Valle, who I, at that time, had no idea who he was, and since then I have become a big fan of Marcos Valle. I think I'm saying his name right. But Walter Wanderley, Summer Samba on the organ. This sounded great on the radio. It was neat that it became a hit. It was wonderful. Okay, another Verve single. I tend to, there's been times where I've tried to organize my singles, and for a while I had a bunch of them grouped by label. So you'll see some label similarities here since that's still somewhat there. I started to run out of room and then we just cram stuff into closets. Bill Evans and his orchestra doing On Broadway, another Verve single. Bill Evans. And then 55 Days at Peking. I don't remember this at all. Yeah, the sound of... I love that old sound. Wow. Now this is really kind of unusual to me. This is not typically what you heard from Bill Evans, the jazz pianist. So this was a bid to make some money. I don't know. I wonder if it worked. Bill Evans was fantastic musician. Excellent single. And when Eric Burdon and the Animals embraced psychedelia, I loved the way they did it. Sky Pilot, to me, this is a classic of the period. And this is a two-parter, side one, side two. You know, the whole track is really long. Never owned the album. Kind of sad that I never did, but this is a really good song. Sky Pilot. Of course I have this. We Love You. Rolling Stones with the Beatles on backing vocals. Back with Dandelion. Schoolboy Crush. Schoolboy Crush right here. Still love her voice, but yeah, when I was a little boy, Dionne Warwick and Elizabeth Montgomery were my schoolboy crushes. Say a Little Prayer was the hit, but it was the B-side that captivated me. Theme from Valley of the Dolls. What a beautiful song. And the way she sang it was just fantastic. Okay, here we go. A band that, I bring up race a lot, but it's because it's real, and it's like it's something to talk about that needs to change. It never will, so I just keep talking about it. This is a band that, I think they should be famous, is what I'm trying to say. The Barkays. Shine. This is one of their minor hits. I don't know if this crossed over to mainstream radio, but the Barkays, and their history going all the way back to Otis Redding and the original members that died with him, and how they recovered and got back in the game. Great, killer band. Barkays. Here we go. From Jamaica. She was just a kid, and she had this huge hit, My Boy Lollipop, Millie Small. And again, as a kid, no awareness at all of any sort of sexual connotation behind this song until I became an adult. My Boy Lollipop. Oh. The world. Quincy Jones. Gula Matari. Quincy Jones, his arranging and writing skills are second to none. And he was on his game starting back in the 50s, way before, Michael Jackson. He showed his pop abilities with helping Leslie Gore have hits. I love Quincy Jones's work. A favorite still to this day, Love Is All Around by the Troggs. This is my shit. This is an example of my favorite kind of song. Okay, and here's another one. This is some of my favorite stuff. It makes sense why I became such a big Genesis fan and prog music fan. The classical connection and the way that it started to be woven into pop music in the 60s. The Left Bank with Pretty Ballerina. B-side Lazy Day is great too. Beautiful song. Yeah, this is gold from childhood. We Ain't Got Nothing Yet, Blues Magoos. Another one of those where it's like, this was very cool to hear on the radio. It was very exciting. Just to show the variety that I have here, Frankenstein by the Edgar Winter Group on a single. Love Edgar Winter. His first album, Entrance, fantastic. Single by the one and only Joni Mitchell, Jericho. The band that brought us The Doors, Love. 7 and 7 is. Back with number 14. Their story is intriguing. Very intriguing. And this I can remember when Dan Fogelberg fell out of grace, and you would just see tons of his albums in the used bins here in the Midwest. I used to have some of his albums. I don't anymore, but I liked him. Promises Made is a good pop song. Dan Fogelberg. Here's another killer track. Thank you, Secka Funk, if you happen to see this. The Bongo Rock on a single. Bongo Rock. You know that album? Preston Epps. I forget the whole story behind it, but it was a big deal. You know, it's one of those most sampled drum breaks. Now here's one that was a pastiche. It was like they were kind of making fun of psychedelia, but it became a hit. Kenny Rogers with the first edition just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. I loved this when it came on the radio, and the phasey vocal effects and everything. Loved it. Still do. King Tut, Steve Martin. Who remembers this? Love this radio song. Radio hit Rings by Cimarron. It just... Now this, I'm just going to play a little bit because I can imagine getting hit by the copyright. But I just love the way this starts.
Ring, ring, telephone ring. Somebody said, baby, what you doing?
Now see, as a kid, that's that little piano thing after the way it started, it was like, oh, this is a good day. This is a happy song. Even if it isn't. It is a happy song. I love this song by Cimarron. So, I won't go too much longer here. Everybody knows about Green Onions by Booker T and the MGs, but what about Red Beans and Rice? You heard that one? No, Stax, they'll get me for that one. A couple more. I came across some Ray Barretto singles, and I still need to kind of really get into these, but I love all types of music. Someone left a link yesterday of something from the Middle East. I don't know the language, but I checked it out. Ray Barretto with Enamorado, In Love. Back with Encendido otra vez. I don't know which side would be the A side, but Tico, important label that helped to propagate this music. Another Ray Barretto single. Swinging Shepherd Blues. If you don't know the music of Ray Barretto, get to know, find out. See, I could just go on forever. This is another classic from early radio. Is this late 50s, early 60s? Popsicles and Icicles by the Mermaids. Do you all remember that? Dream Pop. This was my idea of Dream Pop before they termed the term Dream Pop in the 90s and 2000s. This is the beginnings of it. Stuff like this and Tommy Rose, It's Now Winter's Day, and just dreamy songs like that, you know. The Snow Queen by The City, Carole King. Those are the beginnings of Dream Pop to me. Mule Skinner Blues, The Trashmen. Memphis, Lonnie Mac. This was a huge hit. I loved it. Talk Talk by the Music Machine. They really stood out when they were on American Bandstand with all the band members wearing one black glove. But when I got this, the B-side totally blew me away. This is another example of not so much dream pop, but imaginative. Come on in. This is kind of spooky sounding. Really cool. Like it even better than Talk Talk. And we'll wrap it up with these two, because I could just go forever. Another favorite from back in the day, Itchy Park, Small Faces. It was all, again, It's All Too Beautiful. Fantastic. And then this is just a monster single. The Watts 103rd Street Rhythm Band, Do Your Thing. When this came out, it was another one that couldn't get it on the radio here in Omaha. We were past the Motown safe black sound, and so we weren't hearing the meters and stuff like that on the radio here. But in the hood, when this came out, Do Your Thing, this was hot. I mean, this, and if you played it at a party, the place would erupt, because it starts off kind of low key, and then by the end, it's just blasting, killing. Okay, I love sharing this stuff with you folks. I do. I could do it forever. Let me know your thoughts on the records I showed today and whatever else. Take care.